Blessings, everybody. Blessings. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to each and every one of you. I am excited here, vested in Milwaukee. Our monthly meeting, you guys. This is our monthly meeting this morning. And when I say monthly meeting, I got a financial whiz that's going to be with us. So I'm just sharing it right now, and I ask that you share it because we're going to give out some nuggets this morning, talking about how to be a blessing to not only to you but to your loved ones, to your family, to your friends. I mean, this man of God has so much knowledge. He has so much knowledge and information, and I try to tell people there's three things: there's knowledge, there's wisdom, and there's understanding. Knowledge is information. Understanding is comprehending that information, and wisdom is applying that information. And so this man not only have it, but he also apply it. And I'm excited to have him with me today, you guys. So let me bring him on, ladies and gentlemen. He is Coach Moore.
Hey. Oh man, Dr. King, thank you for the introduction. Listen, that music that you have on before the show start, man, I was dancing and everything, man. I love that music, man. Great, man. Yeah, so thanks for having me. Pastor King. So I hope we have a great show today and be able to give the people some great tips. I know we talked a little bit earlier about, a few things. I think we're going to be pretty much talking about maybe some leadership, some home ownership, maybe some financial literacy tips. I'm gonna let you lead the show, and because you the boss. I always been trained to make sure the boss get his and make sure the boss tell you what to do. I'm teachable, man, and that's another thing with leadership. I ain't trying to talk too much, right, Pastor King, but I think that's something too with leadership that we need to look at. Let the leaders lead. If this is their department, let them lead so you can learn more, so you can even be a better leader to your people based on that knowledge.
Well, I found out for a person to become a great leader, they got to be fat, okay? And that means they got to be faithful, available, and teachable. And that's so even though I'm a leader and I'm teaching, but I'm being taught. Every month when we have our show, I go back and take what I receive and I give it to the young people and everything. I've been in corporate America for 30 years, managing $1 million companies, pastor for almost 30 years, business coach and a consultant. I mean, so I've been there, but I'm always open to learn. I'm always open to receive. I'm always open because I don't know everything. That's why I got another coach on the line because, hey, you the coach. This your lane. I'm just going to follow. I'm going to hit you with questions and I'm just going to follow. So let's get started then. Being a basketball coach to young men and helping them get to the next level in life, because I tell them basketball is plan B. What's your plan A? Give me plan A so I can help you with plan A, because if you lose your ankle, if you hurt your ankle, your knee, your ACL, your MCL, ligaments torn, you're done. So what we going to do with life after that? So I'm telling them now, from the knowledge I got from you, tell your mama, your grandmama to put you on their credit card so you automatically get that history. So when you turn 18, your credit score already be 750, based on them. And now I'm telling them about ownership. So let's talk about housing for a moment. Let's give us some. I got my plate here. I'm spread it out. I'm ready to eat. Give us some nuggets on home ownership.
Well, I think home ownership is so important. And when looking at some stats, I've been talking to a lot of people over the last 3 or 4 weeks just in the home ownership area, and it came to my understanding that 50% of the African Americans are that's in the state of Wisconsin are actually in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And inside Milwaukee, Wisconsin, only 7% of African Americans own their own home. And
Mm.
you know, that alone is something that when I seen those stats, I said, well, you know, if I'm a financial literacy advocate and I understand how this thing works, if we get the leadership together, man, we can change that, Pastor King. We can change that.
Yes.
And so home ownership, what it does is it gives us this psychological satisfaction, right? Of
Hmm.
owning our own thing and be able to do what we want to do within our home. And that alone, man, is that's something that we all need. That psychological satisfaction. Just that, Pastor King.
And you know, I'm so glad you said it that way. And I'm gonna put a pin just a minute for home ownership and talk about leadership for a second. And
Yeah.
and the problem is our leadership in the city of Milwaukee knows those numbers,
Yeah.
and they are hot, and they're patting each other on the back because they want the Black community not to have a sense of ownership. I remember when we was coming up, everybody owned their houses where we live, right? And the neighborhood stayed clean. Why? Ownership. You
Right.
didn't come in the block and tear it up. Why? Because they had a sense of ownership. Now you can tear up a neighborhood because the mindset is like, well, it ain't mine. And so, and then you got these slum lords, and the city know we got these slum lords, and they're not saying anything about the slum lords. So then with bad leadership, you're going to always stay down. You're going to always stay oppressed. You're going to always be on the, as Jason Fields like to say, you're going to always be on the menu and never at the table. So for our young people that's coming up to look at home ownership, in their mindset, they say, I can't afford to own a house, right? And so, but their rent is $900, $1,200, $1,400 for a house that you're saying you can't afford to pay a mortgage. So, what would you say to young people about changing their mindset to ownership?
Well, I'm gonna say this: that they say that they can't afford it. I'm gonna say that they can't afford not to be a homeowner because they're losing out on so much, right? A home is an investment. And so
Yes.
it carries you on. And like I said, not only the psychological aspect of it, but it automatically carries you into a space of responsibility, a
Mm.
space of, like you said, community, which is one of our most important, one of the most important things that we missing. It is that community. But a home is an investment. You know, a lot of times, especially right, Pastor King, when we talk about, you know, a duplex can be your first home, a multifamily can be the first home you buy. When we're talking about it from that aspect, not only is it an investment, it's actually bringing you a stream of income in now. But even if it was a single family, you know, homes on the average grow, you know, in the last 100 years between approximately 7 to 12% a year. You know, sometimes it fluctuates up and down, but when you talk about the average, this means that it's an investment. I purchased a
Mm-hmm.
home in Atlanta, Georgia in 2017 for $300,000. And today that home is worth twice the money. And so what am I saying? If I say, well, I couldn't afford to pay, you know, $1,700, or let's call it $2,000 a month, I couldn't afford to pay that. Let's say that I had that attitude and just wanted to be a renter and just rented the house. I was still going to pay approximately the same amount of money, but now
Yep.
I have $300,000 in equity that I can deploy into another investment so I can grow my portfolio. So $2,000 a month is approximately $24,000 a year. This has been approximately 6 years I've owned this home. And so when you do the math, that's about, you know, $150,000 that I put in as for the mortgage, but I have $300,000 now in equity. So that's $150,000 swing. So for those that say they can't afford, you know, a home, I'm going to say that you can't afford not to do it, because what you're doing is you're giving away money. When you own a home, it's like taking money out of one pocket and putting it into the other. When you don't own a home, it's just like your pocket got a hole in it and somebody else got it because the money fell on the floor.
And I remember my dad, he shared with me one time when they had just started out leasing cars. He said, never lease a car, buy the car. Because when you leasing a car, you never see your money. Yeah. But if you buy the car, you see your money, and when you want to, you can sell it and get you a new one and other. That's the same thing as renting, right? When you're renting, you don't see your money. But when you own, like you say, you got you take it out, get you another house, take it out of the second one, get you another house. It's like playing Monopoly, right? Yeah. And I like the way Frederick Douglass used to say it. He used to say, save your money, buy land, and build schools. And so when we looking at our young people and we're looking at homes and we're looking at some of them might say, well, I think, for example, there was a couple. Let me tell you this. There was a couple, and they came to me and they said, we don't have money to go to McDonald's. This is what they said to me. We don't have money to go to McDonald's. And I told the husband, go get your wife and let's see. Well, they did. They came. I said, can I show y'all something? If I can show y'all something that would be a blessing to your family. And the man was like, yes, because we need a blessing right now. I said, okay. I said, how much you make a month? He showed me how much he made. I said, how much you make a month? She showed me how much she made. Then I wrote a circle in the middle of the paper and said, if you took this much and put it in there a month, and you take this much and put it in there a month, I said, and you pay the bills off of this account right here, man, they had almost $1,000 a month that was free that they couldn't see because they was never budgeting together. They was never doing the bills together. They was frustrated and didn't see what they really had. And I think that we need to do a budgeting summit just to teach people how to budget. And then they'll realize, wow, I do got money, because it was already shown that poor people spend $1 million faster than a rich person.
Hey man, budgeting summit coming soon, Pastor King. Listen, I want me and you to think on that. And that's something I love that idea. Yes.
Because that's what we know the city need. We need a citywide budget summit. And I don't want and when we do it, we don't want people to do it so they looking like, oh well, my job want me to come there. No, we want genuine people who's going to be able to impart in these people so that these people can become blessed. And there I go again, because you know me, I'll bust out anybody that's pimping our people. So
that's right. Yeah.
So let me ask this question. I'm a senior in high school, and I don't know if I want to go to college yet. I don't know really what I want to do, but I want to become independent. And one of the ways to become independent or self-sufficient is through finance. What would you tell me?
Man, that's a great question. First I would want to know, what are your gifts? What do you like to do? But real estate investing is a great avenue. And when you say you want to be self-sufficient, what does that mean? Because in a lot of cases, some people can make it off of $500 a month. Some they need $20,000 a month. So depending on, the lifestyle of the individual and what, some people want to wear, Jordans all day. So what does that look like? How much do you want to make in a year? What does that look like? How much do you want to make your first year? And once you have that number, then what I like to say is we reverse engineer. Let's find out some ways and some different strategies that we can use to make sure you get to that goal. And so in that, of course, if they were 18 years old, we first want to talk about, okay, some home ownership, maybe a duplex property or an investment property. We'll definitely be talking about, see, the issue is when you don't have any money coming in, we got to figure out some kind of way of getting some money in. If you want to, if you don't want to go to school and you don't really want to work for anybody, what is it that you can do to bring some type of monies in so that we can start building out this portfolio for you? But whether a person, is making a big income or not, I always advise, like you say, home ownership, because you're going to be staying somewhere. And then I always advise a business, starting a business, learning how, forming a business. You don't have to have a brick and mortar or any of that, but form that business. What you're able to start doing now is, for a lack of better words, aggregating capital, having access to the capital. So now when this idea comes up or this investment that can give you some more streams of income, now you're able to go right to that money that you've aggregated, those lines of credit and those products that you've aggregated. You can go there and use that you can deploy that into the places that you want to invest in, whether that's real estate, whether that's into somebody else's business. And another thing too, Pastor King, that I think is important that we should be looking at too, is buying businesses that already exist, that's already making money, because SBA, a lot of times you can just bring 5, 10, 15, 20% down of whatever that business is. And now from the word go, you're making money. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you want a restaurant, why can't it be a restaurant that's already making X amount of dollars? Why can't it be a transportation company? So when you buy the company, you're already making $300, $400, $500, $1 million a year. Let's stop thinking about starting over.
Yes.
And let's just think about starting right. And even in that, when I say 10, 15, 10, 20, 40% down on that business, that's just the base number. Because when we get creative, we can get that business without bringing money to the table, right? Because the owner can finance, they can do some owner financing for some of that, and those kind of things. So those are some of the thoughts when you ask me that question.
And when you started talking like that, you already know how I am. So I even took it to a whole nother level, right? If I'm a business owner, right? I'm looking like McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. I'm looking to franchise somehow. My name is already out there, right? I got the clientele. So guess what? I franchise you a part. I help you get a building. I help you get it going, and then you pay me. You pay me for my name. You pay me for my product. You pay me, and then So I even look at it like that. You know what I think with most business owners? I think they think too small when they go into business, right?
Don't think that they do. I'm gonna let you know for a fact. I know you talk to a lot of them, but I talk to them every day, many of them, and they think too small.
I have a business class that I teach, using a scripture to show them how to take their business, one scripture, take their business, and it'll start thriving, do what this one scripture says. And so when I talk to a person, I ask them, why did you come into business? Because when I was doing God Squad, and I'm still doing it, but when I was really doing it and getting people jobs, I came in to take over temp service. I was the enemy to temp service, because I was showing companies how much money you can save and the quality of people you're getting from me, and you can train them and move forward. Rather, every other week you got to train somebody over and over again because that person doesn't stay. So I chose.
Put some of that, Pastor King. I remember coming to one of your facilities and doing some financial literacy training while you were in that, doing that thing, man. And Yeah, man, you're a very creative guy. You think outside the box, but yeah, that was a great program that you had going there.
Yeah. And so we can, I'm looking at it like, bam. So if I can do it with, I look at it like this. If I can do it and it's successful on this level, what you think will happen when I become the mayor of the city? And those same creativities, the same vision, the same everything, man, we're going to have a city popping. Everybody might have to move back here because it's going to be popping.
I know that's right. Make sure you count me in, okay, Fast. Hey, make sure that I'm involved some kind of way, man. Please do that.
Oh, trust me, I already got you a spot. I'm telling you, because I know what it takes to get it done. And what we and the biggest problem that we have is the information, the knowledge, right? So they hide the knowledge. James Madison said it this way: knowledge will always govern ignorance. So if they can keep them ignorant, then they got them. And people don't know what, for example, the city of Milwaukee. It's a great city. It's on the lake. That's why investors is coming in to get it, because we don't know what we got here. But if we get the young people to take ownership, own some houses, right? Start a business, right? Start to invest in the next generation, right? Then start, and you know what else we got to start teaching? We got to start teaching what generation wealth really is. Because generation wealth is not a insurance policy. We got to teach them what generation wealth really is.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And so, go ahead.
No, I'm just in agreement with you, Dr. King. Listen, man, I get excited listening to you. You want to hear me talk? I like hearing you talk. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm just passionate about people. I'm passionate about seeing them successful. I'm passionate about changing the narrative of our city, individual lives, and that's why I did it. And without selling them out, you know what I mean? That we'd be able to say the real thing to them. And so let's look at, because I want to talk about, we got to always talk about the credit side, because that is the key, especially when all of this, everything they're talking now going to be digital anyway, and everything that's going. I think that you have a generation that was so ignorant to credit that some of them they okay with a 400 because they saying I can't have no way, So I think that when we look at coming out the gate, and I'm so passionate about the young people coming out the gate, so that the young people who family no credit automatically is a step ahead of those who family don't, that is ignorant to credit, right? And
Right.
so now you got this young person whose family is ignorant to credit or don't pay attention to credit, versus somebody, what's the word they use? Oh, you're gonna, even when you die, you're gonna owe somebody. So so they be like, well, I'm not gonna pay my bill because my credit is bad anyway. Those kind of mindsets, the ones we need to erase, because you can do so much. And talk about the other. I love the way you talk about the other people money, because that gotta be stirred up in these young people and those that are watching. So talk about other people money for a while.
Well, in the big word with that is leverage, right? And then compounding, what you have with somebody else. Because, like I say this, right, that I don't know a millionaire today that didn't use or still does not use credit as a launching pad, right, to get to these next levels. When I was younger, 18, 19, my high school buddies that, weren't African American, they were, Caucasian. I have friends of all races. I ain't that way. I would have an older car because that's all I could afford. I didn't have any credit cards, and my friends, 19, 20, they had credit cards for 10, $12,000. They were able to ride in new cars for real low interest rates. And this was because they understood how credit worked, and their parents, like I said, they added them to those credit cards as authorized users, and that's how they were able to get the larger limits. You know, it's hard to really make it to the next level with the money that you make on the job. You can't go and buy a business with the money you make on the job unless you're saving up for a long time. We don't have that kind of time, right? We don't have that kind of time. And by the time that time comes, the money we tried to save is gone because our sister needed it. Our brother went to jail. We had to bail him out, or just common things in life. So credit is a tool that can be used to fast forward your financial abilities. And so we have to be able to look at that in a strategic way. We have to be able to look at it in a responsible way. And then we go to that next level. Other people's money is important. My lessons and what I teach anybody. I don't care who you are. We can help you figure out how to get access to some capital. The question is, what are you going to do when you get it, right? What are you going to do when you get it? When I first, found this information and had it where, God blessed me to just bottle it up and just say, Darwin, anybody that pay attention, you can bless them with some money. And I looked at that, and everybody around me, I got access to money, but I still felt like a failure because most of them didn't do the right thing with the money. And so I had to put, a more of an educational component to helping people understand what to do with the money, right? And that's why I started doing those classes and those workshops every month, because this is the thing. If you don't have a plan for the money, then the money will have a plan for you. Real simple. But anybody can get access. Pastor, the banks, aren't necessarily color coded. It's not as racial as it used to be, but I can still say by me being on the inside, I have seen how how it can be racial. And I'll give you a quick example. And I don't really want to go in that department because we can still get there, but I still want us to know that, for example, I was send 4 businesses to the bank to do applications, and these applications were online applications where you just faxing and sending in your documents. And my African American clients had more. They wanted more information. They gave them the 3rd degree, and you will say, well, how did they know they was African American? Well, because they have to give them their ID, right?
Right.
When they look at their ID, they're able to see who you are. And I mean, not a big deal, right? But I just want to let you guys know that it still exists in some lights. But the great thing is this, that it's thousands of banks, guys. Well, one bank won't do, the next one will. We have to prepare, and it does not take a long time. And there's strategic ways, if you have debts, to get rid of those debts, to make arrangements with some of those debts. And some of those debts you can just put on a back burner until you get access to capital. And if you feel like at that time it's time to pay those debts, then you can. But it's all strategy. And we should definitely get those lessons before we start executing things, right? It's real
Yes.
important, very important.
I saw, and I know you've seen it too, where you help someone get their business going. You give them a beautiful game plan, right? And you
Yeah,
tell them this is what you do, right? And for me, I even help them market it. I get them where they need to be, and then all of a sudden, you turn around and they don't went and got a vehicle, and you sitting there like, what did you do?
that's right.
What?
Yeah,
Why did you do that?
yeah,
And like you say, in the beginning, I was like that too. And like, man, I'm helping these folks, and then I'm trying to be a blessing to them. So I'm not charging them what I could charge them, right? And
Right.
it felt like a waste of time. You sit there and be like, man,
You didn't charge them, but they still wouldn't gave the bank the money because they made the wrong decision. So they paying them something extra every month when they could have just got the real science from you and had more money on their side of the field. But they so much not trying to give us our just due, but they give it to the other side all the time.
Every single time. I had a gentleman and I said to him, all right, I'm gonna hook you up and set you up. Not only am I gonna do all your paperwork, make sure you straight. And I said, and I'm gonna create you your first flyer for your business. I got you, right? Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, how much it cost? I said, I'm not my normal price. I'm gonna just charge you $200 for all my time, all my effort, because you're a brother. You're a brother in the Lord. I'm gonna charge you only $200. This young man come back and said, my wife gonna do it.
Right.
His wife went and set up his business, did everything except for the flyer and everything. Got his business started. He get a letter in the mail. Letter in the mail come from child support and said, we have a lien on your business. And I said to him, what did you do? And he was like, well, my wife set it up for me. I said, did you get an EIN number? No, I used my social security number. And he was like, I want to know, can you help me? Now, brother, my price is full price. If I got to come back and fix something that now is full price, because you didn't value what I was giving you for free. You didn't value. And one of the things that when we are dealing with the young people and when we do this budget conference, we got to get people that's going to value the time that we give into them. We don't want to give that time, and then all of a sudden, not one people go do exactly what we told them to do, and they staying in the hole. Yeah. I get frustrated when people are don't see the value in themselves, because when I do a conference or I do something for free, nobody come. The moment I charge, bam, here they come.
Yeah.
And so
that's how discipline is important for the next level. Discipline is going to be key. Putting that goal and having that goal. I've learned that, if you can see it, if you can write it down, if it's real that you really want, that's what we should wake up and look at. And that'll keep us more intact than anything else. Really wanting to get to that goal. And once we get to that goal, we need to start establishing more. Because I remember at one point I said, man, once I get this big old house, I'm done, man. That's all I want, right? Pastor King, once I get this, I'm set, I'm good. I didn't accomplish my mission. Man, I got the house, man, and now what's next, man? It's like, no, man. So continue, right, guys? Continue to have those goals. Become a goal buster, right?
Yes.
Bust the goals upside the head, man. Listen, and that's sexy, right? When you can take a goal and you can go get it. Yeah.
Right. And we tell people your biggest enemy is your last success, because that's what you ride on. You just stay right there. Now you become like somebody that's in jail that say, I used to have a car, I used to have this, because once we get there, and then we get relaxed. But what you did, you got there and said, if I could accomplish this, what else can I accomplish? Let me set some new goals, because I done did that. My potential is done now. I had the potential to get a big house. I got it. So that potential is done. So where's my next potential? What can I go conquer next? Or what can I go tackle next? Or, what else can I do? Because one of the things that I know for me, I got to find issues, because I'm a problem solver. I gotta go find somebody with some problems. Because if I ain't got nobody with no problems, I'm bored. I don't know. I probably go crazy,
Yeah.
because I'm a problem solver. So I need to be around problems. That's why running for mayor is big for me, because the city got so many problems. I never get bored because I'll be trying to solve all the issues that there is. And so when I go through and I solve something, it's like you said with the house. You get that enjoyment of accomplishment, and you be like, wow, God, you amazing. And we never steal his glory. We always give it back to him. God, you amazing. You gave me the ability to do this. You gave me the ability to do that. Now what, God? What is it? What else that you have for me to do? Who do you want me to help next? So in helping people, I wanna address something that I'm gonna give you a scenario, and then I want you to touch it. Okay?
Okay.
It's gonna be a scary, alarming number, but I want you to address it anyway.
Yes, sir.
9% of the children that are graduating from high school, 9% can read at their grade level. 6% can do math at that grade level. How can we help the 91% that can't read and the 94% that can't do math?
Well, we help them by creating programs and assisting them, through. I had an uncle that I didn't know he couldn't read. He was maybe 67, 68 when I realized that he couldn't read, but he had these keen abilities to communicate. He had these leadership abilities, and he had other people read for him, right? And so sometimes we can look at other aspects of that person and emphasize on those gifts that they have, because just reading is not necessarily. Don't get me wrong. Reading is fundamental. Reading is a very important thing. We should definitely keen in and figure out what their gifts are and encourage them to get more literacy in that department. But if we focus on their gifts as a community, I think we'll be better off. Because sometimes when we say people are illiterate or what they call LD, it puts them in a state of like this shock, or like they're not acceptable in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that alone is it's heartfelt, man. It's alarming. It's a psychological hit from all different dynamics just in our community, period. So everybody counts. I'm not bigger than anybody in our community. As a matter of fact, I would rather be under them and just to let them know that, hey, yeah, I'm the coach, but I'm gonna let you lead. Show me what you can teach me. Because though that 7%, that 9% that you talk about, I guarantee you, Pastor, they can teach us something. Maybe they seeing things that others not seeing. And so that's where I would go with that. I'm not sure if that's where you wanted me to go, Pastor.
No, I mean that's it, because you did exactly what I would do. And what I mean by that is you didn't look at the problem, you looked at the solution. You know, let me see where you're good at. Okay, we know where you're weak. Let me see where you're strong.
That's
and
right.
Let's build from the strong, and then we can come back and help you with the weak. But we need to know not you where you're weak, because right now, when you look at our city or our county, the school system, they're pouring money on the problem, but they're not doing anything with what they are capable of doing. Because you might got somebody can't read, but might be one of the best artists out there, right? Or one of the best cooks out there, So, because I remember a friend of my mom, the man couldn't read. She had to read his mail and everything, but he was a great businessman. He knew money. He knew his business. He knew how to fix cars. So where he was weak, and I heard someone say this. a great leader always surround himself with people smarter than he is. And so, so even though, like you said, I'm the leader, I'm the coach, but I'm gonna submit to you so you can teach me something that you can guide me in a direction. And so when I look at everything that you just said, that's the answer right there. Let's find out what they're good at. Let's find out what they can do. Let's find out what we already understand they're lacking. Okay, you can't do math. And a lot of people that can't do math don't mean they can't count money.
That's right.
They
probably can count money better. The way they see money and see life they can teach us something.
Yes. And I remember this man went into this classroom and he said, how many quarters are in a dollar? And nobody raised their hand to give him the answer. But then he says, at the time, tater chips was 4 for $1. They were 25 cents a piece. He said, how many bags of tater chips can you get with this dollar? Everybody raised their hand and said 4.
That's all that counted. Hey, look.
That's all they counted. So they didn't know how many quarters, but they know what they can buy.
That's right.
So they were like, oh, I can get 4 bags of chips. So, all we have to do is, okay, now I need to just teach you this part. You know this, so let me teach you this. And and I think that when we start focusing on where they're strong at, where they what they're good at, and start building from that. I mean, look how many pro football players couldn't read, but they was good at football. That's so right. They was like, you know what? You good at football. I can make you some money, your family some money. And what they really saying is, I'm going to get rich off of your talent because you really don't know what you got. And that's what these landlords are doing to people who mindset says, I can't own my home. And the landlord said, you can't own a home. Okay, fine. Pay me $1,400 a month.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you made me think look at children, the ones that can't read, I think they don't start reading till they get 4 or 5. From the age of 0 to 4 or 5, man, there's such a beautiful spirit, such a beautiful being. You know what I mean, Pastor King? So how is it that because they can't do this or that you take away their beauty and you make them, not a good person in our society or our community? I disagree, man. I disagree 100% because I know a lot of beautiful people, man, that can't read. Now, they don't want to or they don't need to, but they still got a lot of beauty, and we should emphasize that because, just imagine. I can just imagine. I have faults. It might not be reading or math, but the faults I have, imagine somebody just kept beating me up on that and never saying, I have value over here. I always said that my mom, I really loved her because she called me a genius. All she did was all my life, she called me a genius because you know why? She overlooked all my faults because I would mess up every day, man. But she said, you're a genius. Imagine that,
Oh, yeah. And the thing about it is, I was always taught, that's why nobody intimidate me, because I was always taught by my mom. She used to say to me, son, ain't nobody better than you, and you ain't better than nobody. Y'all equal. And so, and then when I went in the Bible, and the Bible tells me, God says, and I'll make of you a great nation. So now I'm great. So I don't care about what nobody think anymore. I'm going to always try to walk out greatness in my life because I came in agreement with God. But I remember telling my daughters one time, I told one of my daughters, I said, if you gave your best, you already automatically won. But if you won and didn't give your best, you lost. Right. And so I remember her sister was running a race, and her sister was 2 years younger than her, and her sister didn't win the race, and she was crying, and she went by the stairs to her and she said, you remember when Daddy said, did you try your best in that race? She said, yes. He said, well, you already won. It's when you don't give your best. And so we, like you said, we all got shortcomings. But whatever my shortcoming is, you won't see it. I see it, but I'll make sure you don't see it because I'm always going to give my best.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's right.
and so when we look at these young people and we say, okay, you can't read, but let me see what you're good at, because that's what I want to focus on. We can go back, like I said before, we can go back and deal with your weaknesses. Let's see your strength, you know, because you're great. And I tell people all the time, you're great. And greatness doesn't mean how much money you got. Greatness don't mean what kind of car you drive. Greatness don't mean what kind of circumstances you in. Great means I'm great. So I'm great in the middle of a struggle. I'm great if I'm on top of the hill. I'm great if I'm in the valley. I'm just great. And if I can get young men and young women to think like that, don't worry about the next person. God already said you're great. So if you are great, then walk out your greatness, and you don't have to prove yourself to nobody because God has already proved you.
Hey man, you talking today, Pastor. I promise you, man. Listen, hey, this is a great show. Y'all better share this show. I promise you. I think we talked about a lot of areas that we need collectively. I know it's so much more to talk about, but man, great show.
And you know, it's about that though, because you got two people who love empowering people. So when you have two people that love to empower people, it's always going to be a great show, you know. But let's go back to housing because we don't went everywhere. So let's come back to full circle. Let's talk about housing. Do you think right now is a good time to start looking to buy a house?
Yes, well, of course I do. You know, I really say, you know, I know they try to say it's better times than other, and I understand that when it comes to interest rates and the cost of housing. But you know, in the position that we in as a people, don't look at that. It's always, you should always be looking for a house. If you don't own one, let's get into home ownership. Now, I'll say this, you know, get into programs. They have a lot of housing programs. You know, I just became privy on what's called ACTS Housing. They have a great program where, you know, they help you with down payment assistance. They give you $100 per class that you go in. I definitely want to hook you up with them too, Pastor. They're great. I just really came across them about a week or so ago, and very great program. They have coaches that help you with credit, coaches that help you with getting your insurance, coaches that help you find the houses. So it's like they walk you all the way, you know, through the process. And I'll say this too, you know, just because we want to give even more information, is that, you know, when COVID was around, houses, the interest rates were very low, 2s, 3s, 4% in that range. And now the interest rates are a lot higher, 6 to 8, depending on, you know, where you're going. And so I'm saying that to say this is that there's things called assumable mortgages. For example, if Pastor King bought a house, you know, when COVID was going on, and that house was 300,000, and he only paid 3%. Now, if you bought that same house from him for 300,000 and you're paying 6 or 7%, you're paying a lot more money every month. You know, it could be a few $100s more a month that you'll be paying versus what he's paying for that same money. And so there's ways that you can assume this mortgage, right? And assume that payment that Pastor King has. And now you're saving that money that you would have had to dish out. In addition to that, when you assume a mortgage, more of the money is going towards the principal because they had that mortgage longer. When you first get the mortgage, you know, it takes, you know, a little bit of time for, you know, for a better percentage of it to go towards the principal. So that's just something to think about. I just wanted to just, you know, kind of give you guys my mind and some inside tips, those that may be a little bit more savvy in this department, right? That you can assume a mortgage and do better.
Wow. You know, that is. Now, let me make sure I heard you right earlier. You said, what percent, was it 6% of blacks in Milwaukee own houses? Only
It's
6%?
7%. Yeah.
7%.
We can change that. You know that, don't you, Pastor
Oh,
King?
we on a voyage to change that, man. I'm telling you, we're going to address this because when you are not when you don't have no sense of ownership of anything, right? Then it
That's right.
starts to go down. But the morale, the whole 9 yards. But to be 7%, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. 7%
That means 7 out of 100. Those that don't know math real good, 7 people out of 100. And then, Pastor King, let me say this. Excuse me. It's 1 out of 7 houses that's owned by an investor out of the state. So it's people out of state own more of our housing than we do. And this, come on, man, that's ridiculous. So you can imagine outside investors, they don't care about us. They don't care about necessarily the neighborhood. They just caring about the dollar. So the outside investors are doing better than the people that's inside. And and it's really because we really don't know. You know how you said like so many people aren't, not, can't read, right? Or math. It's the same thing with home ownership. We just don't understand it. We just don't
right.
know. So it takes the leadership to inspire, to encourage, and give those and walk those people through that. And I'm gonna tell you, man, those people will be great people for our community when we give them that psychological understanding, right?
Oh
They will
man, yeah.
be great people for our community, man.
We have to we gotta fix this because this is big, to have only 7% of all the blacks in the city of Milwaukee, only 7%, one 7 out of every 100, that's man, that's
That's
huge.
man, that's
And
ridiculous, right, Pastor King?
yes,
And so who do we blame? I mean, I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I blame myself. I blame
okay,
myself now when I seen those numbers. And I said, Darwin, you've been teaching financial literacy for a while. I did some home ownership blasts for the last 4 years saying, okay, this year I want to get 100 people in houses, these many people in houses. And I'm quite sure with my teaching and my information I did. I know 1 year I took on 5 people myself and made sure that they got those houses, but I still put out blast information so everybody understand. And I did workshops, but we need to be accountable. We need to have a tester, is what they say, no, we need to make sure we know these people getting past there. Let's not just talk about it. Let's write their
right.
phone number down, get the information, get them in a program, and let's take a picture of them, turn those keys, getting into that door. Now we're
Yes.
doing our job.
Now we're doing our job, and I man, I blame me, but I blame also uh I blame leadership. I gotta go back to leadership
That's
and
it.
and for uh leadership to be in an uproar. For example, in Chicago, hey J Rod, in Chicago, right? Do you know they voted in a new mayor in the city of Chicago, and that mayor are now paying rent for those illegal aliens uh, for 6 months, but the homeless blacks in Chicago can't get that.
Right.
So they sitting there, and one lady said, "You we voted you in, and you slapped us in the face, you know, and now they're in the uproar. They're about to try to get rid of them, And the thing about it is, the black community in Milwaukee should be upset that one, the information that's out there that they can be homeowners, they're not getting it. Two, the leadership is pushing investors from the outside in to buy the houses that they grew up in.
Yeah.
They put a new house on the block, the whole tax goes up, and more people in the city of Milwaukee lost their houses to taxes and then the mortgage.
Yeah.
So, man, we got some work to do. You know, we
really do. We really do.
And we got at least, and we can't even when if we moved it to 8%, we can't even brag yet. We got at least get in the double digits.
Hey man, listen, we better. Hey, we can. That's right. We can't brag about no 8. We got at least. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you, if we put the leadership in place, if we in the right way, man, I promise you, man, in the next few years, man, we can double them numbers, if not triple them. It's just that because Pastor King, they're paying rent anyway. So it's not a problem. We don't have a money problem. We have an education and we have a leadership and a math problem.
That's it right there. That's it. You're absolutely right, because that's where the education, leadership, right? Yep.
I said math. I don't know what you're gonna say, but math.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna go with math too. So we got a math problem, we got an educational problem, we got a leadership problem, and this is why we got high crime, because of all of this. They don't know, they don't care. I remember I can have a friend who, at his house, you can do anything, right? You can jump on the bed, you can tear up the house, you can do it all. But the moment he came to my house, I just say, "Oh, bro, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't go in the refrigerator. You can't do this, because my mom ain't gonna allow you to do that. What your mom allowed you to do, you can't do over here, right?" And so when you start getting people to own houses, they'll tell their friends and their family, "Hold on, y'all can't do that. Y'all can't have that noise over here.
Take them shoes off at that door, man." Take them shoes off. That's it, man. I promise you, man. All we need to do, we need to call on leadership, and we need to remove these egos, and we need to assimilate, man, and we need to strike. We need these programs. You know, I know a lot of leaders, what they won't do is they won't send them to Pastor King. They won't send them to Coach Darvin. They won't send them to this church over here, because they feel like a lot of times that they won't have to get that credibility anymore. And I understand that. And so some leaders won't get on this wagon this way. But what we can do, Pastor King, is we can give those leaderships programs for home ownership, programs, their own programs for literacy, and say, "Here, implement this then into your program, into your organization," because we have to do something, Pastor King. We have to do something, man.
Well, you know, you're absolutely right. But the first thing we got to do is remove the leadership at the head so that the dam can be burst and it can flow. Because right now, with the leadership we have in the city, and it's getting so bad in the city. I mean, with the education, with the math, with the home ownership, with businesses got to lead the city of Milwaukee to prosper. Why? You know, it's crazy. Even family. Did you know? Now watch this. Did you know that in 2018, the mayor, who is now the mayor, at the time was an auto person, and he made a law that if a family member, if your child or your niece or your nephew was a little confused sexuality wise, you cannot get them no therapy in the city of Milwaukee. It's against the law.
I didn't know that.
So they making rules against family structure. They messing up the education. They messing up the math. They messing up home ownership, because they're bringing in the outside in, and they can be slumlords and they don't care. And it's not being snuck in, okay? It's being brought in by design. And so when we look at that, so no matter what you and I put together and everything, until we change leadership, they're going to be the ones that hinders them. They're going to be the one that telling them, well, you can't paint your living room this color. They're going to be the one that says, you know what, that empty lot, we finna put a new house on that lot, and guess what? We're going to raise the tax rate because we really want your house, but we're going to raise this tax rate until you can't pay the taxes, and then we're going to come in and get your houses. So as we get the numbers up to 10%, 12%, 15%, and then they're coming on the other side of us trying to take those houses from them, then, you know, it's going to be a uphill battle for us. But if we remove the leadership and says, okay, now we got leadership that wants to empower these people, then now we can send them to Coach Darvin. Now we can send them to Dr. King. Now we can send them to this church because we know over there they're going to have some results. Over there, they're going to be able to get what they really need to sustain and to build their family.
That's right. That's it. That's it, Pastor. Yes, sir.
And so
we got some work to do, Pastor. We got some work to do.
Man, we definitely got some work to do, and it's doable work. It's not far-fetched. It's not something that we're just dreaming or just talking out of the side of our mouth. It is something that we can get done simply because of the fact that we have the ability. Both of us have proven track records of empowering people and watching their lives get better. So yes, it can definitely get done. And then there's people that will jump on board with us simply because they know what we can do. And so, man, see, you done got me started. I think we need to set up this budget thing, and our goal is to make sure. I believe that we can get it in the double digits too. You know, in the next couple of years, we can get it up there.
I believe.
You
so.
know,
yeah.
And so I tell people all the time. They used to go to this one car dealership and buy that raggedy car, and then drive down the street. And I'm like, why are you driving that? And then all that money monthly you putting in trying to fix that thing. Why not just go to the dealership and get you a brand new car, and then you paying so much, and then the dealership will take care of it. Now you ain't got to go in the alley to get the oil change. Take it back to the dealership, you know, and we just don't think like that.
Yeah, and you know, and when you say that, it reminds me of, you know, at least a dozen of my clients that were in the trucking industry, or some of them still in there. You know, they had the concept of, you know, they want to pay cash for the vehicle, for that truck. And so, of course, you know, the truck not going to be new. It's going to be a used truck, you know, older truck. They want to spend $30,000, whatever that is, on the truck. But now they done spent all of their money. They, you know, most of their money and their reserves on this truck, and now they in business. But as soon as the truck go down, they out of business because they don't have the wherewithal to get the truck fixed, or if it takes so long to get it fixed, they not moving. When, like, to your point, they could have just got something where it was new, or in business is a little different. They could have got a lease vehicle, because now if something go down with that truck, they get another one, and the money don't stop moving. You know, so we need to have those kind of conversations, you know, with us, with business, you know, and on a personal side. We need to just have more conversations. They just need to hear more stories, because those stories that help get the framework for their brain so they can move forward. That's all it is, man. It's just some more stories.
Yep. They gotta have the testimonies. They gotta know. And the thing about it is, when we look at it from the, like you say, personal and business side, it's just, for me, it's just that a individual, a family, because I tell the father or the husband, I says, in your relationship at your house with your wife or your girlfriend, are you the thermostat or are you the thermometer? And
tell me more about this, Pastor. Hey, man, you know you're an interesting dude. What is that talk? What you talking about, Pastor? Look.
Okay. So in a relationship, if we do it the way God wanted done, in a relationship, the man should never be the thermometer. He should always be the thermostat. And the reason why, because he controls the atmosphere of the house.
Mm.
So, for example, my house is peace because I set the thermostat to peace.
That's right.
My house is love because I got the thermostat on love. Matter of fact, you can't even take my thermostat and put it on confusion. It won't go there. It's not set to go down to confusion. It's not set to go down to arguments. It's not set to go down. It's only set for where I like it to be. And I like it on love. I like it on peace, right? I like it on quietness. So even if we got somebody coming over, they already understand what the thermostat is. So they're not coming over being rowdy. They're not coming over trying to have a drink because there's no drinking in my house. They're not coming over. So as the man, as the husband or the man, you got to understand I control. So when it comes to business, I got to control that too, right? Now, in negotiation, I might not be, even though I'm controlling it, I might not be the best in negotiation, right? So what do? Tag off to my wife and let her go in there and negotiate.
Right. Now,
I would have been satisfied with maybe 25%. When my wife get done, it's down to 15%, right? So I let her go and negotiate. But when it comes to the other side of the business, the financial side or dealing with the books or anything, now that's my side of the thing. But I set the tone of our business. I set the tone of everything. This is what we need to do. This is the direction we need to go. And this is how we need to do it. So I'm always understanding that it's through me setting that tone. So guess what that erased? It erased happy wife, happy life. And guess what it produced though? Happy spouse, happy house.
Wow. Yeah.
See, because a man can make his wife happy and be miserable while he's making her happy. But if he understood his job is to make his spouse happy and her job is to make her spouse happy, guess what? You got a beautiful home.
That's right.
And it trickles down to the children, the grandchildren. It trickles. Why? Because they see, like you say, some people got to see it. They got to see it. And so when you're building as a family and the husband going to work hard and the wife working hard and y'all paying $1,400-$1,600 a month for rent, somebody, and it should be the husband say, hey, baby, you know what? We can own our own. We need to think about owning our own. And we shouldn't stop until we own our own. We need to set a budget that we're going to put to the side. You know, we don't have to always go out to eat. We don't have to always do this until we reach our goal. You know, I tell people all the time, families should be at a place where you don't have to go to McDonald's. You want to go to McDonald's. See, I don't have to go to Chick-fil-A. I want to go to Chick-fil-A. I don't have to go to El Greco's. I love going to El Greco's. So I go to El Greco's because I love the way they treat me. I love the food. I can go to 5 o'clock steakhouse if I want to, but I don't want to. I want to go to El Greco's. We should be able to do what we want to do, not we have to because of. And I think the moment we start teaching the budgets, the moment we start teaching home ownership, the moment we start teaching unity in the families again, the moment we start taking them, not looking at their shortcoming, like you said, but look at what they're good at. And then, man, do you know what kind of community we would have?
Hey, man, I want to see this in my lifetime, Pastor. Listen, man, I want to see this kind of improvement so we know what the future going to look like because we see the pace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to be able to pass that baton and say, hey, look, you know, and I always tell people that I want to die empty. So everything I know, I want to pour it out. I want to give. I want to go empty. I don't want to go full of nothing. I want to go empty. Everything, everywhere I made my mistake, you're going to know. So you don't have to make those mistakes, and everything I did right, you're going to know. So you can go ahead and go to the next level. And I tell people, I'm not intimidated, because if I was intimidated, I wouldn't tell you. So I'm not intimidated. I don't have an ego. I just want to see you do good.
That's right.
Okay, man. I didn't realize it was this much time. So this is good, man. This is good. And so I can take this show to a whole nother hour, but we can't do that. But um, I'm gonna put it on you and give your final thoughts. Whatever it is you want to say. There's no time limit. Just pull your heart out to the people.
Well, I'm gonna say this first off, Dr. King. I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you acknowledging me as the coach and thoughts and helping the community. And we need to build more, guys. The leaders that's looking on, contact me, contact Pastor Dr. King, so that we can start building something that's real. This is my new goal. My new goal is community. My new goal is, making sure I'm seeing that my city, my hometown, gets better, right? Even if it's just one person at a time, one organization at a time. We have work to do. Men, mostly men. Let's remove those egos and let's become students. Let's become students of the world, because we can be more sharp. We example for our children. Just imagine those children seeing, their parents owning homes and what we have with them. There are some great children. Just imagine yourself when you were younger. There's some great children, man, that can help push what we're doing. They just need to see examples, because right now they don't have many examples to see. And so when they get those examples, oh my God, Milwaukee has talent, a lot of great talent. And so I'm here. I'm Coach Darvin. Y'all know Pastor King is the man. Y'all know his heart. And so that's all I got to say today. But I'll be back. Y'all gonna see me more with Pastor King. And you can follow me on social media, Coach Darvin or Darvin Moore, because we got work to do. And that's it for me.
Amen. And so, I'm just blessed to have you, man. I mean, I just love your heart. I love what you do. There's a gentleman, I don't know if you know him. You might know him. His name is Carl Bird.
No, I don't know him.
I'm gonna bring him on because he's one like us, and
Okay.
I'm gonna bring him with us. And he's on the IT side. He does a lot of IT and things, and I want him to see this. I just turned my podcast show, Vested in Milwaukee, into a now organization under my PMA. And so we're going to do a lot of this through Vested in Milwaukee, because like you and I say, when we leave, we want Milwaukee to be going up, not down. And so we got a lot of work. I'm excited about it. Everybody, I just want to thank y'all for being on, J-Rod and John for making comments, and a couple of other people that was on. I go back and I acknowledge you. Pastor Kelly, I see he was on, and Kevin Bruce was on. So you guys, Pastor Kelly, give us a call, because we would love to talk with you to show how we can empower your congregation. That everybody, can you imagine if every pastor would work toward their congregation all being homeowners?
Yeah. I thought about what's the young lady name? Everybody get a car, Oprah Winfrey. So hey man, I want to get up and say, you get a house, you get a house, you get a house, you get a house. Come on, man. We can make that happen, Pastor. You know that, don't you? Everybody get up, man. Look.
That's and that's something that I can see. And so I'm excited, and I'm gonna start doing some fundraising for Vested in Milwaukee, so we can have some funds that we can reward people that doing a thing, and they say, well, I need $5,000 for a closing cost. Oh, Vested in Milwaukee got you. Bam, there you go. Own your home. All we ask you to do is impart the knowledge we gave you into somebody else. We're not asking for anything. We're asking for you to be empowered that you can empower other people. And so I'm looking forward to this, man. You done got me stirred up, and we got to get off the air, but you done got me, man.
Hey,
You got me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let me know, Pastor, when you have me back on. But I will be in Milwaukee the second week of November, and I will be having one or two events that me and one of my advisory teams are talking about. So I definitely want you to be involved. I'm gonna keep you in that loop, Pastor, and then me and you probably should be talking more too about this summit just in reference to budgeting, because I think that's important.
Okay, I think we would definitely do that, and I'm gonna have you back on before you come to Milwaukee. So we gonna
okay.
So you said the second week in November?
Yeah, so we're looking at some dates between like the 12th and the 18th. Those are the dates that we're looking at potentially having those two events that we plan on having. So I will be in the city around that time for sure.
Okay, so then November 8th, that Wednesday, we'll be back on together.
Okay. I'll be out of the country. I'll be in South America working with some investment folks. So, but I can still get on.
All I'm gonna say is, when I grow up, I'm gonna be just like you.
Hey, God bless me. Bless me to be an international coach with the International Men's Boot Camp, and that has took me in other places too, where he just blessed me to just see things differently than others. These guys were saying, "Hey, man, how can we?" They wanted to pull a bunch of investors in, which was okay. But I showed them how they can look at it differently. That I showed them how they can restructure their portfolio where they have the money, and those investors, they don't have to use those investors' real money. They can use they can show those investors how to get other people's money to use for the project. And so that's where I come in at, Pastor.
All right, man. So I'm excited, you guys. I have my friend, my brother, Coach Darvin, with us, and we're excited about that. And we are well spent over the hour, so we're going to walk in obedience and let this man get to work. So we thank everybody for watching Vested in Milwaukee. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. God bless each and every one of you.